Welcome, and thank you for joining us for this presentation on the Interstate 94 Midway Grant Marsh Bridge Engineering and Feasibility Study. The key project contacts for this study include Teresa Maas, the consultant project manager with Stantec. Stantec was hired by the North Dakota Department of Transportation to complete the engineering and feasibility study. Michael Johnson is the project manager for the North Dakota Department of Transportation. In this presentation, we will cover the following items. We'll give an overview of the project, including the study location and limits, review the background of the area and the study objectives, and explain what a Pell study is. We will review what we know about the project and the surrounding area, summarize what will be included in the traffic analysis, review the structural needs and considerations, also go over the study schedule and the next steps, and then finally, we'll let you know how you can stay involved throughout the course of the project. So let's start with the study overview. The North Dakota DOT is undertaking a preliminary engineering and feasibility study for the Midway interchange area. The study includes Interstate 94 from the Mandan Avenue interchange to just east of the Tyler Parkway interchange in Bismarck. The study will also include Interstate 194 between I-94 and Memorial Highway, and will look at replacement of the Grant Marsh Bridge over the Missouri River. The project location, shown as the red line segment, indicates the area that will be analyzed for operational issues and where alternatives for the roadway improvements will focus. The larger study area included within the dashed boundary illustrates the area that helps us to understand the impacts that the proposed alternatives could have on area traffic operations and the human environment. Human environment includes the natural features such as wetlands, floodplains, and the social and economic environment. Changes to the interstate system will need to assess impacts to the adjacent interchanges outside of the project location. Several studies have been completed in and around the I-94 Midway by local agencies and the Bismarck-Mandan Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO. The studies were intended to identify solutions for area safety and capacity issues. This feasibility study will build off of those studies, particularly the Bismarck-Mandan I-94 corridor study completed by the MPO in 2015. That study identified current and future transportation issues along 17 miles of I-94, which encompassed our study area. This 2015 study assumed that the Grant Marsh Bridge would remain in place when looking at solutions. So now, with the restriction of the existing bridge location removed, a fresh look is warranted. Objectives of this study include taking a critical look at the operations and capacity of I-94, 194, and the connected roadways, develop and determine reasonable roadway and bridge alternatives, and develop a comprehensive plan to move the project through funding applications, scoping, and getting it ready for environmental review under the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, and into design. This feasibility study of the I-94 Midway area and Grant Marsh Bridge actually occurs during the planning phase. This is ahead of the federally funded environmental study down the line. However, it's important to note that we are following what is called a Pell process. This is the Planning and Environment Linkages approach, which is advocated by the Federal Highway Administration. And Pell actually does a nice job of stitching together long-range planning and community goals with that of the actual project studies. If you'd like any more information about Pell, the links below provide that opportunity. Transportation project delivery moves from the long-range planning phase into what is known as the project development phase. Here, the North Dakota DOT will conduct a formal environmental review of the proposed project and seek approval of a recommended alternative. Then the project will move into the detailed design phase. This would precede any right-of-way acquisition or construction. The Pell approach serves to accelerate project delivery by shifting the advanced work for the environmental review process into the planning phase. Therefore, the early completion of key tasks actually shortens the duration of the project development phase, which then allows the design phase to start sooner. The Pell process offers many benefits. Here we selected the benefits most pertinent to the I-94 Midway Grant Marsh Bridge project. These include accelerated project delivery, consistency with federal and state laws and regulations, better informed project selection to the State Transportation Improvement Program, or the STIP, enhanced DOT coordination with local governments, early identification of local stakeholders, engaging non-transportation agencies in the decision-making process, fostering relationships between the North Dakota Department of Transportation and the public, and creating better, more responsive outcomes for the entire community. The feasibility study will review resources, listen to people, and conduct specific analyses along the way. Federal guidelines describe all of these efforts as planning products, which help to inform future decision-making. A few examples of that include traffic studies, environmental resources, community input, alternative solutions, and recommendations moving forward. Since the North Dakota Department of Transportation is shifting key tasks into the planning phase, naturally, the DOT intends to use these planning products in the future federally funded environmental review process. The study process is pretty simple. First, we'll identify transportation needs. Also, we'll identify local environmental resources, parks, valued historic or archaeological sites, protected communities, and we'll listen to citizen concerns. Once we know these parameters, we will then develop alternative solutions and then evaluate potential impacts. We'll also refine alternatives based on feedback, consider any mitigation opportunities, and then make recommendations for which alternatives should progress into further, more detailed studies during the project development phase. It's important to note that we will engage the community all the way through, with this and 2 other public workshops before the study ends in late 2024. Next, we'd like to talk about the existing conditions within the study area. This study is focused on 2 main features, the interstate system and the Grant Marsh Bridge. The existing bridge and interchanges were constructed with the surrounding interstate system, which has not experienced major improvements since it was originally built in 1965. Therefore, the bridge is reaching the end of its useful life and will need replacement in the future. The bridge currently carries 34,000 vehicles on 4 lanes of interstate. Within the Midway interchange area, I-94 serves as interstate, but also connects with several local collectors. Geometric deficiencies exist that cause driver confusion, and constrained capacity exists when traffic events occur. To understand the issues and work toward a set of feasible alternatives that fit the context of the area, this study will include the following: a traffic analysis with a calibration of the existing traffic model and development of a simulation model that will be used to understand the impacts of various roadway alternatives. Environmental studies. This includes wetlands, floodplains, water bodies, threatened and endangered species, wildlife, vegetation, environmental justice and social impacts, parklands, Section 4 and 6F resources, land use, right-of-way, among others. We'll look at river hydraulics. We'll be doing a bathymetric survey and considering the impacts of bridge piers in the water, both during construction and in the build condition. Roadway and bridge design will document the existing conditions and needs relative to safety, operations, and capacity. Multimodal needs. We'll be looking at the ability to maintain or create a bike-ped connection and accommodate transit. Aesthetics will be a consideration. This project is located in an area that's important to the people of Bismarck, Mandan, and the greater traveling public. And then other considerations as well that are necessary to develop the reasonable alternatives. All of these considerations will feed into the purpose and need for the project and inform the development of alternatives. I would like to talk through some of the critical issues this study is considering. This project provides an important connection between Bismarck and Mandan. Due to the north-south mobility issues within the city of Bismarck, this segment of I-94 serves as interstate and connects with several local collectors. There are geometric deficiencies. Most interchanges in the area are either diamond or partial cloverleaf interchanges, so they have right-hand exit ramps followed by right-hand entrance ramps. This gives drivers a sense of uniformity. However, the I-94 interchanges with 194 and Main Street violate that driver expectation by using back-to-back left-hand exits, introducing weave areas, and using a left-hand entrance ramp in the westbound direction of I-94. There are structural deficiencies. We'll explain this in a bit, but the existing Grant Marsh Bridge structure cannot be widened and will require eventual replacement. Also, due to the restricted width on the existing bridge, there is a limited resiliency for major incidences on I-94. The bridge currently has a high rate of crashes occurring, and with limited shoulder space, what happens when there's an incident is that the bridge instantly becomes congested as the crashes are cleared. In terms of construction staging, the existing bridge will be used to maintain traffic during construction, and that means that the new bridge will likely either be shifting upstream or downstream of existing. Also, due to the restricted width on the existing bridge, bicycles are not allowed on the Grant Marsh Bridge, as they generally are on the interstate system in North Dakota. Part of this study is to determine the feasibility of providing a crossing as part of the new bridge. This project will require work within the floodplain. Coordination with the Federal Emergency Management Administration, or FEMA, and the local floodplain administrators will occur. This waterway is also sovereign in the state of North Dakota. In terms of slope stability, landslides have occurred along this corridor requiring repair efforts, so slope stability hazards will be examined as part of this study. Several parks and amenities are located within and adjacent to the study area, including Keelboat Park, which is a heavily used public space for river recreation and has a boat ramp, Pioneer Park, which is a city park with a mountain bike trail, Chief Lookings Village just above Pioneer Park, and the Missouri River State Natural Area. The Huckleberry House is also located under the existing bridge. Context-sensitive design considerations will help to ensure that the project fits the community needs and the environment. And finally, navigation clearance. Working with the U.S. Coast Guard and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the many stakeholders will help us to understand how the river is used and what regulatory clearances need to be maintained during construction and after.
I would like to review the existing traffic operations in the study corridor. The map on this slide is a screenshot of Google Maps average travel speeds during the Thursday morning peak hour period. The green shaded routes indicate that all the interstate highways currently operate at free flow speeds. The orange shaded roadways indicate the existing local interchanges are experiencing moderate congestion. This map illustrates the average travel speeds during the Thursday evening peak hour period. The green shaded routes indicate that all the interstate highways are continuing to operate at free flow speeds during the evening rush hour period. The orange shaded roadways indicate the existing local interchanges are continuing to experience moderate congestion during the evening peak hours. Since the design year for this study is 2050, our team will be evaluating no-build and build conditions using traffic volumes forecasted to grow by 2050. Based on the 2050 traffic volumes, the study team will make recommendations regarding how many future lanes are needed on Interstate 94 and Interstate 194, also known as the Bismarck Expressway. This study could determine the need for additional lanes on Interstate 94 over the Missouri River. We will also be evaluating traffic safety in the study corridor. This chart illustrates the breakdown of the 741 crashes by crash type that have occurred in the study area in the last 5 years. The majority of crashes, 38%, were rear-end crashes, many of which occurred at intersections. The second highest crash type was not a collision with a motor vehicle, which were single vehicle involved crashes, 44% of which occurred during inclement weather events. A previous study indicated the majority of crashes along Interstate 94 in the study area occur between the Interstate 194 interchange and the Tyler Parkway Divide Avenue interchange. This chart illustrates the breakdown of the 741 crashes by crash severity. There were 2 fatal crashes in the study area from 2018 to 2022. The majority of the 741 crashes were property damage only crashes without any personal injuries. We will evaluate the proposed highway improvements potential to reduce future crashes. This includes the reduction in truck rollover crashes by replacing low-speed loop ramps with higher-speed semi-direct ramps. It also includes the provision of readily accessible bypass routes during traffic incidents, since the number of secondary crashes that occur during incidents are usually a function of the time to clear an incident.
The existing Grant Marsh Bridge was constructed in 1965 and is 1,125 feet long and includes 30-foot wide roadways in each direction. The bridge has undergone a number of repairs over its lifespan. These repairs have included deck replacements and deck overlays, steel and concrete repairs, replacement of traffic barriers and expansion joints, and it has been repainted 3 times in 1982, 2002, and 2015. The most recent bridge inspection showed condition ratings of the deck, substructure, and superstructure of 5, which is considered fair. A fair condition rating means that all primary components are structurally sound, but repairs are needed. In response to the inspection findings, the NDDOT is planning another repair project that will include a deck overlay, replacement of the expansion joints, steel and concrete repairs, spot painting, and other minor repairs. The intent of this repair project is to extend the useful life of the bridge. What you see on the screen is a cross-section of the existing bridge superstructure. In reality, the bridge is comprised of 2 independent superstructures. As noted previously, the bridge provides a 30-foot wide roadway in each direction. The 30 feet consists of 2 12-foot wide lanes, which meets current standards, and 3-foot wide shoulders, which do not. Typically on the interstate system in North Dakota, bridges provide 10-foot wide shoulders on the right and 6-foot wide shoulders on the left, resulting in a 40-foot wide roadway. The substandard roadway width on the existing bridge is the primary deficiency that needs to be addressed. As you can see, each bridge deck is supported by 2 primary girders located near the outside edges of the deck. This configuration is referred to as a non-redundant structure, and it is not feasible to widen. In addition to the Grant Marsh Bridge, there are 9 other bridges located within the study area. These are either interchange bridges or grade separation structures that carry one roadway over another. 5 of these bridges were built in 1964 to 1965 as part of the midway section of the interstate. 3 were built in 1981 as part of the I-194 construction. The most recently constructed bridge is the Tyler Parkway Interchange Bridge, built in 1995. All of the bridges are in either satisfactory or good condition. However, some or all of these bridges may require modification or replacement in the future to accommodate changes to the corridor, such as new or modified interchanges, additional travel lanes on the interstate, or other roadway alignment changes within the study area.
I'd like to walk through the study schedule and the next steps. Several tasks are already underway, including the survey of the project corridor, gathering and documenting existing conditions, which includes the environmental screening and an assessment of the existing infrastructure. Agency and stakeholder coordination has begun, helping us to understand the issues and the opportunities. You can take a look at our What We've Heard board located on the project website if you'd like more detail on that. We are now introducing the project to the public, so that means we're asking for your help to review and supplement this background information. And all of this will feed into the draft purpose and needs statement for the project and help us to inform the alternatives that will be developed. So once we have the background data, we'll start with a range of alternatives, which includes a wide variety of improvements. A brainstorm of alternatives that meet basic criteria, such as reducing weaving, improving geometrics. It'll serve as a starting point for review and elimination of early alternatives that are determined to be unfeasible to construct. The draft purpose and need will then be used to filter the remaining alternatives. We will hold a second public workshop to share the study alternatives and get feedback on the conceptual designs that will be carried further into review for filtering and refinement, considering cost, constructability, impacts. And you can see that all throughout public engagement is occurring. We're providing an opportunity for regulatory agencies, tribes, stakeholders to participate and comment. We're looking to have intentional engagement, making sure we're hearing the right voices. And at the end of this study, which is scheduled to end late in 2024, the North Dakota Department of Transportation will have a set of feasible alternatives to carry forward into the NEPA study as a next step. Following this open house, we will keep the comment period open until June 20th. As I noted in the schedule, the study team will continue to develop the traffic operations analysis. Then concurrently, we will be drafting a purpose and needs statement that documents why this project is needed, what the problems are that we're solving, and documenting the environmental and social resources and opportunities. This is followed by an alternative development and analysis process and concludes in a feasibility study recommending the series of alternatives to move forward into funding and NEPA. This study will provide a range of costs to help get this project programmed, so it is a valuable step in the process. The decisions that are made in this study will count and will move forward. So how can you stay involved? Well, here are a few ways that you can stay up to date on the project. You can visit the project website found at www.dot.nd.gov/midway, MIDWAY, Grant Marsh, GRANTMARSH. The website contains the materials presented at the public input meeting. Please feel free to pass the link along to anyone who may be interested. There is also a place on the website to subscribe for project updates. You can also email or reach out to either of the project contests listed, or if you'd like to leave a comment, go to the project website and drop some pins on our virtual map, or respond via email before June 20th. And finally, be sure to look out for our next public meeting this winter. Thank you for joining this presentation.